During the chaotic final days of World War II, a chilling event unfolded that remains one of the most controversial moments in General George S. Patton's career. It's a story of brutal justice, battlefield rage, and the blurred lines between discipline and revenge. This is the tale of the execution of 50 SS guards, an incident that reveals the raw, dark side of war. It all began in April 1945, as Patton's Third Army pushed deep into Germany. American soldiers stumbled upon the Langensteinsweberg concentration camp, a subcamp of Buchenwald. What they found there was a scene of unimaginable horror. Thousands of emaciated prisoners, dead and dying, lay scattered among squalid barracks. The stench of death and disease hung heavy in the air. For the battle-hardened G.I.s, many of whom were young men who had never witnessed such depravity, the sight was a profound shock. The experience ignited a deep, simmering rage. Shortly after the camp's liberation, a group of about 50 SS guards who had been captured nearby were brought to a makeshift holding area. What happened next is shrouded in the fog of war and conflicting accounts. According to some reports, as the captured SS men were being marched, the American soldiers, still reeling from the horrors they had just witnessed, opened fire. In a swift, violent eruption, the guards were cut down. The official story would later be more sanitized, but whispers of a summary execution persisted. When General Patton arrived on the scene, he was reportedly furious, but not for the reason you might think. He saw the bodies of the SS guards and the state of the liberated prisoners. His reaction was complex. On one hand, he was a stickler for military discipline and the rules of war. Summary executions were a clear violation. On the other hand, Patton had a visceral hatred for the Nazis and the atrocities they committed. Looking at the skeletal survivors of the camp, it said he understood the fury that drove his men to act. So, did Patton order the execution? The evidence suggests he did not. It appears to have been a spontaneous act of vengeance by his soldiers. However, Patton's role in the aftermath is what cemented the controversy. Instead of court-martialing the soldiers involved, he allegedly ordered the incident covered up. Official reports were altered, and the event was chalked up to guards being shot while trying to escape. Patton's reasoning seemed to be that prosecuting his men for killing those responsible for such atrocities would be a severe blow to morale during the final push to end the war. He essentially made a command decision: protect his soldiers and maintain the fighting spirit of his army, even if it meant burying a war crime. This choice highlights the brutal moral calculus of command. Was it justice for the victims of the concentration camp? Or was it a breakdown of military order that should have been punished? For Patton, the answer was clear. He chose to protect his men, believing their actions, while technically illegal, were a justified response to an incomprehensible evil. This incident was not an isolated one. Across the European theater, as Allied soldiers uncovered the full extent of the Holocaust, similar events of battlefield justice occurred, most famously at the Dachau liberation. These moments force us to confront uncomfortable questions about war. When faced with absolute evil, where does the line for justice lie? Can vengeance ever be justified? Patton's decision to sweep the execution of the 50 SS guards under the rug shows a commander grappling with the immense pressures of war, where the neat lines of right and wrong become hopelessly blurred. It remains a stark reminder that even in a good war, the darkness can touch everyone involved. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into a lesser-known part of World War II history interesting, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the past. See you next time.